Hello, and welcome to You Write, the podcast where creativity meets community.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
Each week on You Write, we challenge our listeners to write a story in usually just 30 minutes, except for this month, using 3 of 5 randomly generated words.
It's a fun and fast-paced exercise to spark your imagination and get those creative juices flowing.
We'll read your submissions, offer feedback, and talk about the exciting mysteries that take place.
They are abundant, yeah.
They are in each story.
And whether you're an aspiring author or, just love a good yarn, You Write is your place to explore the endless possibilities of telling stories.
A yarn. So grab a crochet hook, get comfy, and let's dive into this week's stories.
And remember, the only limit is 2,000 words-ish.
Yeah.
Ish. Very ish.
Yeah.
And your imagination.
Right.
Let's see what you got.
Yeah. I just now made up crochet hook on the spot.
Wow.
Ad lib. Because you said yarn, and that really...
So we're going for a theme.
Well, I wasn't going to. I was going to say something else, but you said yarn, and that really hit home for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You've told many a tale.
Oh, I have.
Spun many a yarn with a crochet hook.
Definitely have.
Okay.
In both ways.
Okay.
Like, probably more figurative yarns. But I've spun many a literal yarn as well with a crochet hook. And I know you have too.
Knitting needles.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Kim does the crochet.
Yeah, Kim crochets.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They are proliferate. That's a word, right?
Isn't it prolific?
Yeah. Yep, it is. Okay. They are prolific in their knitting and crocheting.
Kim more so than me, but yeah, I enjoy a good knit project.
A good yarn.
Yes. Yeah, if you haven't dove into my Reddit profile, there's some knitting projects that I've posted on there.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some of them. I just haven't seen it on your Reddit profile.
Not all of them, just the ones that I was enjoying, I guess.
Okay. But I'm really interested that you just now did a past participle use of the verb dive, because just today I was contemplating, and I didn't want to know bad enough to Google it, but I was contemplating what is the past participle of dive? And I want to say divin, but that's not it, because drive driven,
yeah.
But I was like, dived, dove. You used it as dove.
Yeah. Also known as dove.
Right. Or what about dovin?
Like the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about dovin?
Dovin?
Yeah. None of it sounds right.
That sounds like a mashup of double oven. It's just a dovin.
Yeah, a dovin. Like a Dutch oven.
Oh, that's even better. Dutch oven.
A dovin.
A dovin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, my friends, is a portmanteau.
A portmanteau.
A portmanteau.
Aye.
A portmanteau. Okay, hold on. I'm Googling it right now. I mean, I believe you. Wait, do you stand by that? Are you standing by that?
No. Unless it's right, in which case, of course, I knew what it was.
Right. Okay, perfect. All right. Passport of nice. Oh, wow. It's dived.
Dived?
Yeah.
So if you haven't dived did into my Reddit profile.
Did.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What about hang? Past participle for hang.
Is hung.
It is hung?
It's hung.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because hanged is the past participle for like...
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Hung. Hanged is the past participle for hung. So for...
Oh, God.
Well, hold on. Wait. Hang. I hang. I hanged. I hung. Yeah. Hanged is the past simple and hung is the past participle. I could be wrong about that. But recently I had a student asking about that, and he used hanged as the past simple. And I was like, I think it depends on the context, because I was like, when you say that, it makes it sound like you're lynching somebody.
Right. Yeah. That's immediately what I jumped to. I was like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that comes up in one of our stories, and I was confused.
Oh, yeah. The past participle of the verb hang can be either hung or hanged.
so it doesn't matter.
Well, I
So
think
both
it
are
is
wrong and right.
I think it is context because I think that hung should be used in most cases unless you're lynching.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. He was hanged.
Yeah.
They hanged him at dawn.
And you didn't. It's like I didn't hanged that picture. I hung that picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, if you say they hung him at dawn, it makes it sound like they like put him on the wall or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The context is
Yeah.
implied.
Right.
Interesting.
That is just so funny.
Yeah. And hung has no other meanings. Nope.
Okay.
None others. Did you see all the stories?
Yes.
We're back up to a full group of 5.
Yeah.
Everybody that's participating this month. They're
Yeah.
all here with us.
I'm loving it.
I know.
I'm loving it.
It's great.
I was so excited. And it was very fun to read them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got some really good ones.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. So with that in mind, who did we pick to read this week?
We picked our very own in-house or out-of-house Steve Living Room.
Yeah. Steve, are you here? Oh.
He's among us.
He is among us.
I can feel him.
He's here.
He's here. He's among us.
But yeah, we're going to be reading the 3rd entry for The Evolution of Religion by Steve Livingroom.
That's right.
All right.
Get after it.
Okay, on it. The Evolution of Religion, Part 3. Silas takes a big breath. He had just finished another rant about religion to Reverend Gurma. I understand, Reverend Gurma responds. You have put a lot of thought and energy to this. I like what you say. It may need to be adjusted a bit for the rest of the world to hear, but I agree with you, Reverend Gurman stated. Silas was stunned and confused. How could a Christian reverend agree with what he just heard? Was it possible there was some big truth hiding in what Silas said? Could more people hear and accept Silas' words? Hope peeked up from its hiding place, just a tiny bit. What is your story? Reverend Gurma asked, switching gears. My story? I questioned back. Yes. Isn't that what your generation says? What's your story? Who is this guy? Silas thought. He's so cool. How does he know so much about the world outside his town and country? Silas told him about his adoption from Ethiopia to America and his adoptive parents, who are so loving and kind. I love them both dearly. They are my world and my family. My dad is a great father and teacher. Despite some past anger issues, he is usually a trusted and calm presence no matter what the situation is. He's taught me a lot, not by demanding, but by explaining and leading by example. He lets me be who I am. He loves me fiercely and supports me. Most importantly, he trusts me. My mom is simply amazing. She lost her first husband and their 2 young children in an accident. Her boys were her life and her whole world. Then they were gone. It broke her. But she rebuilt a life for herself. She saw a therapist, journaled, and kickboxed. She worked through the deep depths of her tragedy and loss. She climbed that mountain and worked hard to become the incredible mom and person she is. Eventually, she started dating again. Dad was her second date. They've been inseparable since. Mom is strict, but in a really good, supportive, and loving way. Mom taught me art, joy, and discipline. She taught me how to love life and never take things or people for granted, while not letting negative people or things define or control me. Sounds like she's an amazing person, Reverend Gurma said. She is. They both are. They helped prepare me for a life as a black kid in America. It's weird being black and raised by parents who aren't black, especially in a mostly white neighborhood. South Denver is a little diverse, but nothing like Aurora. My parents took me to the African Caribbean Heritage Camp every year and volunteered to help run the camp. They worked really hard so I wouldn't be shocked when I left their white protection and went out into the world. The world does treat us differently. The looks, the weird questions, no one asks white people. Just being the only black kid in a room or on a team is strange. I did have my crew, so that helped a ton. 2 of my best friends were also adopted from Ethiopia. Another friend was adopted by his parents, sister, and brother-in-law. We hang out, talk, play video games, eat, play sports, and just chill. Do you have anything you wish your parents would have done differently? Silas thought about this for a bit. Not something they ever said or did, but I felt pushed into believing that our church was the one and only way in the world, and that thinking in any other way was blasphemous. That's really my strongest point of contention against all religions. What hobbies and interests do you have? Reverend Germa asked, moving on seamlessly. Silas told him about his drive for figuring things out, like shorthand, memorizing world facts, why systems work the way they do, and why the world is the way it is. Something in him pushed him to be the absolute best. That drive helped Silas dig deep into the history of religions, government, and business. When he gets into something, he hyper-focuses on it. It's great when he has uninterrupted time. He gets really good pretty fast. But it's difficult for him to multitask. His high school friends would joke about Silas being in packing mode at the end of a camping trip, meaning he doesn't hear or think about anything else right now, so just wait until he's done. He has worked on multitasking and gotten better. Silas learned to slow down and be able to talk and do things at the same time. I have a great friend group. I've dated a few girls in the past who I liked, but nothing really serious. I'm young and in no rush. If I find love or love finds me, that's great, but I'm not going out of my way to look. I do have one friend that may one day become more. We went to elementary, middle, and high school together, but we were never close. We've been emailing a lot back and forth the last years, getting to know each other more and growing closer. But we're not even in the same country, and haven't seen each other in years, so we'll just see where that takes us. After taking a sip, Silas asked, "Can I hear about your life?" Still guilty for doing all the talking. Reverend Germa fascinated Silas. He keeps Silas talking so effortlessly. He truly wants to know about Silas's life. Silas knows this, and is a relatively small church in the back hills of Ethiopia. But it is a major piece of history, and he is the Reverend, in charge of keeping this incredible, important artifact safe and secure. Silas knows how busy a church's Reverend is from his years of being an altar boy. It's a beautiful but simple life, Reverend Germa starts out. My parents grew up and met near here. I had fun living here despite the poverty. We were lucky enough to have a goat, and neither of my parents died. I was 4 when the pastor Yergalim asked me to help out in the church. That ended up saving my whole family's life. Because I started eating all my meals at the church, my parents could feed my sister, and even themselves, a little more. I didn't know that until I was older. It still pains me to remember my friends and their families who were not so fortunate. Even as a child, I loved the church, not just for the life-saving food. It was the seriousness of the ritual, the sacredness of witnessing faith being lived out, the love and joy in the hearts and voices of our congregation. I couldn't say or think these things as a child, but I felt them. Even in times of overwhelming sadness, violence, or confusion, we were, and still are, loving to each other and those we meet. If that isn't walking on God's path, I don't know what is. I was always content with being an underling in the church, but eventually I was asked to lead this beautiful congregation. It was an easy decision to become a reverend. Today, I am still very content with my job, but always ready for a step in the right direction, even if it's a momentous change. Reverend Germa gave Silas a strange look, equal parts excited, ominous, and mischievous. Silas had no clue what that meant. Silas had no clue what that look meant, but it stuck with him. Our congregation has had its tough times. I don't know of a time when we haven't been poor and hungry. But our people are strong, resilient, and dedicated. It is a beautiful part of the world we have here. We have survived thousands of years through famine, war, and regimes. His seriousness was surprising but gentle, intense but not scary. It is mind-boggling to Silas that their culture is roughly 5,000 years old, back to the times of King Solomon and Queen Sheba, and before. We survive. That is the simplest way of putting it. Do you ever feel bitter or resentful? Ever wish the church would do more for your congregation and the world? That is a good question. I do not feel bitter or resentful. I have faith in my journey. I have no place in my heart to be resentful or bitter. Our people have a very special history. We have survived for a reason. Our time will come. We will share our gift with the world. Again, that part mischievous look on his face that Silas couldn't figure out. Silas wanted to ask what gift he was talking about, but Reverend Gurma continued on before he got the chance. I do my job, and I live my life as best I can. I help as many people as I can. I share knowledge that has been shared with me. We continue to love and be loved. We do more than survive. We continue our culture and preserve its history. We find joy and beauty in life and each other. In those ways, we are very much thriving. Silas loved him. It was a fact. In knowing him for just one afternoon coffee and conversation, Silas was awestruck with Reverend Gurma's charisma. He is smart, learned, loving, aware, sincere, and humble. It was the way he presented himself, what he said, and how he said it that enthralled Silas. He immediately thought of him as a great mentor. Silas was out of his funk and fully engaged and present, and then it was time to go. Thank you so much, Reverend Gurma. I am eternally grateful for this day. Silas sat there grinning like a fool, sad to have it all end, but still feeling pretty damn good nonetheless. Will you come back tomorrow? He asked. I would love to continue our conversations today and start new ones. Of course. Thank you. I'd be honored. How long are you here? Can you come by every day at the same time? Are you able to take that much time to talk to me? I asked. All people have their time with their reverend. This is no different. We all do our jobs and continue to make things work. I might not be able to talk as much as we did today, but we will have our daily time together, at least for as long as you wish and I am able. Silas was amazed, overjoyed, and humbled. How could a reverend, even in a small community, be able to drop everything for a week or two and commit that much time to a stranger off the street? He was honored and awestruck. They said their goodbyes. Silas wandered the streets, mind racing. He was thinking about where their conversations would go and what could come from them. The possibilities were exhilarating.
And there we have it.
Part 3.
There 'tis.
There 'tis.
There 'tis. So, first of all, great reading. As usual.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Just to feed my ego, what about it was great, do you think?
I think that you're very well spoken.
Oh.
You just sound so articulate.
Oh.
And thoughtful.
Oh. And thoughtful.
Yeah,
okay.
And you have this I guess maybe because you listen to so many audiobooks, but you have this audiobook thing or it's like, and then and blah blah blah. And blah blah blah. Which really works.
Does it?
It slaps.
It slaps even. Okay. All right.
It slaps.
Okay. Now it's just getting awkward.
Okay.
Well,
anyway.
how did you feel about Steve Livingroom's part 3?
Well, I was very surprised at this child, Silas.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Did we get his age? Because I'm thinking he's like 18, 19 or something like that.
I don't remember ever getting his age.
Okay. I feel like there was
something... He is a reporter. So he's employed.
That's true. So maybe like, I don't know, mid-20s?
Yeah, I would say minimum early to mid-20s.
Yeah, early to mid-20s. Okay. So I was very surprised at the way that he spoke about his parents in such flawlessly glowing terms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I adore my parents, but they are deeply flawed.
Yes.
And they know this.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the age where once you leave home, where you start realizing what things were not cool, you know? At least it was for me, and I know it is for a lot of people, but maybe not for everybody. And you're just like, wow, you know what? This is weird. Because whenever you're growing up in that environment, then everything is, well, it's all you know.
Yeah, it's the only environment you've ever
Right.
known. So
Exactly.
whatever it is, it can't be weird. It's just what it is.
Exactly. But then you leave that environment and you start seeing new perspectives, seeing the rest of the world. And then you're like, okay, wait a second, you know? And then you start to also appreciate your parents for the awesome job that they did. But I guess it just seemed a little bit too good, the description of the parents.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe Silas is young enough still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not adopted, so I really can't say what that kind of experience would instill. I would imagine an adopted child might be more critical of their adopted parents because they've known another environment. Of course, that all very much depends, but that's just me speculating.
Right. I have no idea.
Yeah, no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But just the same, seems like Silas is maybe at that age where he'll start to explore these ideas that maybe my parents are flawed, and maybe what I'm experiencing is a product of those flaws that I lived with, that I grew up with.
Right.
So maybe that's where we're headed is an exploration of Silas's upbringing.
Maybe.
It could be.
Yeah. It almost like seems like Silas is like wearing rose-colored glasses or something.
Yes.
In a way. But also, at the beginning he says, why was Reverend Gurma so... How could a Christian reverend agree with what he just heard? But I felt that what he just heard was a lot of praise of the church from Silas.
Yeah.
So obviously a reverend is going to agree with that. You know?
Yeah. I assumed that was more about the criticisms of the way sin is taught in church. But you're right. That was one small piece of criticism.
Right. And the overarching concept or theme of Silas's, would you call that a monologue?
Actually, yeah. If not a monologue, then it's certainly a soapbox. Yeah.
Right. Last time seemed to be 90% positive about the church.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up because it doesn't feel very balanced. If we're meant to assume that Silas is coming across as critical, it doesn't really feel that way. Granted, it's been 2 weeks since part 1 where we got the criticisms of the church. And in part 2, we kind of had a bit of a flashback to Silas and what seemed like a group, like a meeting of some kind.
Yes.
And people in that meeting were a little critical of the church, but I didn't get the idea that information was relayed to Reverend Gurma.
Right.
So only a small bit of what Silas has said has been critical of the church, and the rest has been very glowing. Like you said, rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I agree that it doesn't strike me as odd that a reverend would agree with this because it's overwhelmingly positive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my reverend has agreed with me whenever I have said the most crazy and diabolical things. So...
Yeah. Yeah. I actually feel like somebody in a reverend, pastor, preacher capacity will see a lot of that fucked up nature of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if they're who somebody goes to, not for like necessarily a formal confession, but I've confessed plenty of things to this person I'm talking about, even though I'm not Catholic.
Yeah.
But just, you know.
Well, and also I know in a lot of capacities, they'll offer counseling, like spiritual religious counseling. And so you get just some of that twisted nature of people, things that get them tied up in their heads. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And like couples counseling, I imagine you get some wild stories. So,
right. For sure.
Pastor Walker, we're looking at you.
We're looking at you, boo.
And you've got some twisted stories.
Up.
So let us know. Is it really...
Spill the tea.
Or, you know... That seems unethical. Maybe don't.
Yeah, well, you could do it anonymously.
Yeah.
Just be like, I had this one person come in.
Yeah, don't drop names. Just give us an idea.
Yeah, you don't even have to say if they're male or female or non-binary. You can just say this one person.
Yeah, give us some deets. Give us the vague deets.
At least one deet.
Yeah.
And okay, so another thing about the story though is I feel like we get some foreshadowing, and I wonder what Reverend Gurma is going to propose to Silas, Because I feel like Reverend Gurma has gotten some inspiration that he's going to somehow commission Silas to do something.
Yeah, and I think it's the line, today I am still very content with my job, but always ready for a step in the right direction, even if it's a momentous change, giving Silas a look of an excited, ominous, and mischievous look.
Right.
So yeah, that certainly, just the mischievous aspect of that makes you think like something's coming, and it's around whatever this momentous change.
Yeah, but then it happens again.
Yeah.
There towards the end.
Oh yeah, our time will come. We will share our gift with the world. Again, that part mischievous look on his face. Mm-hmm. So seems like something is either been happening for a while and they're about to, I don't know. I just think of like, oh, the new iPhone 17. You know, it's like, but no, the new Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
Behold. Like, I don't know. It feels like some sort of launch kind of event.
What's that word when things are opposite?
Oxymoron.
Isn't that an oxymoron? The new Orthodox Church. Neo-Orthodox.
Yeah.
It's the new
and improved old Orthodox Church.
Right. I really enjoyed hearing a bit of Reverend Gurma's backstory.
Yes, yeah.
That to me was very fascinating.
Yeah, and a stark contrast to the story that we've gotten of Silas.
Yes.
Despite both having come from Ethiopia.
Right. No, totally.
Yeah.
I was especially interested by the way that him having like an apprenticeship at the church took that burden of feeding him off of his parents' shoulders, you know? And it just made me remember that is life in a lot of places, you know, like an actual dearth of food.
Right. Yeah.
That was a pretty good reminder.
Yeah, it's a great perspective, and I'm glad that it was included here.
Yeah. I found it interesting how Reverend Gurma said about his village. He said, "Oh, okay, yeah, it's a beautiful but simple life." Reverend Gurma starts out. "My parents grew up and met near here. I had fun living here despite the poverty." That really struck me because I feel like that is a very like American phrase.
It was fun living here.
Yeah, describing something like that as fun. I feel in my experience, I've been criticized a lot for saying things like that in other countries. For saying like, "Oh, was it fun? How was milking the cows? Was it fun?" And they're like, LOL. Actually, one guy told me, he was like, "It's really funny because you're speaking Mongolian, but like you're saying American things in Mongolian."
Yeah.
And that's whenever I started to realize the different cultural view that you have to take on to actually speak another language.
Right.
But
yeah.
And they just thought it was absurd that I would describe something like that as, "Oh, fun. That was fun. Was that fun?" So I thought that was really funny, and that just like struck me as very like childlike, metropolitan.
Well, yeah, and fun is it's such a simple way of saying something as well. Like it doesn't necessarily imply some of the possible nuances. Like I imagine describing something as living here was fun despite the poverty. I don't know why. I have a hard time reconciling that sentence in my head.
Yeah. Well, sorry, go ahead.
It just seems like I don't doubt that it's possible to enjoy life impoverished, but describing it that way felt a little jarring, I guess. Okay. So, but that's all I've got on it. So, on that sentence. So
I feel that I have definitely heard people describe things like that as being like, "I love my home despite the poverty," or "I loved growing up here despite the poverty," or something like that, you know. But it was describing it as fun specifically. That was struck me as very funny.
Yeah. Because funny.
Oh man, and that right there is a can of worms.
Oh no.
Yeah, that I have to go into great detail to explain to my students the difference between fun and funny, because they'll be like, "Oh yeah, the party was so funny."
It could
And
have
I'm
been.
like,
Maybe they had a comedian.
no, it wasn't.
It
Trust me, it wasn't.
It wasn't funny.
Nope, it was just fun. And it's very difficult explaining to them the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, no, it wasn't funny. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell them just like, funny is it, were you like, I ask them, I'm like, okay, were you like, the whole time? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, then it wasn't funny.
It was just fun.
It was just fun. Got to understand that difference.
Got to.
You gotta.
You gotta.
You gotta.
All right. What else you have for Steve here?
I think those are the main points that I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Let's go ahead and move on to Vortex Aftermath by Nick Yu.
Yeah. So continuing on with the story that Nick Yu started last week.
Yes.
With the not T-Rex,
Mm-hmm.
the Vortex.
The Vortex.
And so we're back here in this scene with Nee and Hannah.
Yes.
And Nee is our point of view character, right?
Well, that's what I thought until the very end.
Yes, yeah.
And then I got very confused.
Yeah, I got scared because I was like, oh no.
I was like, no, have I been misreading this the whole time?
But I felt like we got... Okay, so Nick, we're referring to the very last sentence. I would keep a closer eye on Nee and bring it up if I noticed it more. So since we are in this first person, I thought maybe that was just... I'll keep a closer eye on Hannah and bring it up if I noticed it more.
Or I started thinking, is Nee just the handle for this video game character? And in real life, their name is something else? Because in real life, they have the club.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I don't know either. I got so confused.
Because yeah, we do get our point of view character speaking to Hannah, right?
Yes.
We're not in Hannah's POV, right?
No, we're in Nee's POV.
Okay. That was the only, I think, confusing part
Oh no, totally.
of the story. Was
broke my brain.
Yeah, the last sentence, I was like, oh no, I'm so scared.
That broke my damn brain.
Yeah, we just get a dialogue back and forth here between Nee and Hannah. Oh yeah, Nee,
Yes.
Hannah said as she elbowed me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, bad topic. It's just two friends palling around, and it
Yeah.
seems like they're a little sweet on each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I took from it.
yeah. It's kind of feels like a little childish crush,
Yeah,
like childhood crush kind of.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah.
A little flirty.
A little flirty, and
Yeah.
just generally it's just real cute.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of I liked it because it kind of like reminded me of what it feels like to have that type of childhood crush, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So-
very innocent, very sweet.
It is.
And I thought this was interesting. Our point of view character, Nee, who is a child, we assume. Like,
Mhm.
like they're on a field
Like,
trip to a museum.
Yeah, like preteens maybe?
Yeah.
12, 13.
Yeah. Offers the guide their phone so that they can play something to be distracted.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that kind of reversal
Yeah.
because normally it would absolutely be the
The
other
opposite,
way. Yeah. Would you like to play something on my phone so you can
Right.
get your mind off of something?
Because clearly Nee and Hannah are the two badasses of the story,
Yeah.
You
They
know?
they held their own while
protecting everybody else.
and museum security kind of took over the job to handle the situation as it is apparently continuing
Yes.
beyond what we read last time. So
Tis. Okay, so apparently Hannah, this was an interesting thing that we got into with Hannah about her thing with eating.
yeah.
And then I started thinking, all right, so she doesn't eat very much
Yeah.
and she's a vegan.
Yeah. And her mom is a chef.
Right.
Yeah. So I think Hannah specifically mentioned that I love food, but I don't love eating. Or something like that. I'll have to find it.
Mm-hmm.
I like food, I do, but some people act like I should live to eat rather than eat to live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And frankly, Hannah, I'm totally there with you. Yeah.
That's true. Matt is like that.
I eat like a bird.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, live to eat.
Hmm.
That is all that I care about in my life is my next meal.
I do eat to live. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a student in Saudi Arabia who does not like food.
It's like work to eat. Yeah.
She was very skinny. She didn't look like she was about to die or anything, but she was very skinny. And I learned this because one day I was just asking the students, like, hey, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite food? And she was like, and she was my best student, very smart, very honest. And she was just like, I don't really like food. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, no, I only eat it so that I don't die.
Valid reason to eat. Yeah.
And that's the first person I've ever talked to. I mean, you are kind of like that.
Well,
but
I mean, I still have favorite foods,
yeah,
like things that I really enjoy.
Food.
Yeah.
She literally didn't even, it's not that she hated food. She just had no desire for it.
Yeah.
And that to me was so crazy.
Some days I'm kind of like that. Like I just gotta eat. But I'll still derive some joy out of it.
I've only been like that when I was in the hospital for a long time, and whenever I most recently had a psychotic break, which I think I've referred to before.
Yeah, back in February, was it?
It was February. Yeah. It was. And at that point, I lost 15 pounds in a month.
Ooh.
Yep. And I could not eat. And I tried and I kept trying and I couldn't. I was actually scared to weigh myself because I was like, I'm wasting away. I mean, of course, losing weight is not a bad thing necessarily, but
crash losing can be. Yeah.
I was scared to see what kind of damage I had done.
Yeah, 15 pounds over a month. That's fast. That's certainly a crash diet.
Mm-hmm.
But there's I've heard of worse. I'll put it that way.
Same, like that guy that got his arm stuck in that boulder. Several years ago.
Oh, right.
In Utah, I believe.
Yeah.
Had to saw his arm off. I think that he lost 30 pounds in a week.
But that's starvation.
Right.
Yeah.
He had zero sustenance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very different.
Right. Anyway, so we find some interesting things about Hannah's eating habits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And do you think we're supposed to be taking something from this? From this conversation, it feels a bit like a non sequitur. Like we're just watching them kind of shoot the shit.
It does, and I honestly got the feeling that I don't know, but I almost got the feeling that Nick, to you, it sounded kind of personal to you. It kind of sounded like maybe you experienced this and people criticize you because you don't. They're like, you're not eating enough or something.
Oh yeah.
I kind of got that feeling that it was some personal thing. Or that you either experience that or you're very close to somebody who has experienced that.
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah. And it could also just be setting up for something that we may be moving into later. The idea of setting up Hannah's mom as a chef, kind of cluing us into other characters outside of the two that we've been with most of the time. We also have Miss Inez and the tour guide. Yeah. Those are the only other characters we really have any interaction with so far. Mm-hmm. And Miss Inez does come back and as a matter of fact thanks them for helping everybody. Yes. For staying to fight. And I just thought that was interesting because that further reinforces that this story has actual stakes behind it. And because everybody's so grateful that they stepped in to do this, despite it being what we assume is some sort of video game world. Right. Which one thing that kind of threw me for a loop is Nee handing their phone to the guide to play a game whenever we assume they are in some sort of game. Right. So it felt like it could go either way. It could just be, there are phones within this game that they're playing that you can play games on. Yeah. Or that could invalidate our theory. It's not actually a game that they're in, despite all of this evidence. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I kind of started wondering also, is this a video game that they're in? Or because some other things just kind of made me feel like, wait, what?
It feels just realistic enough. Yeah. That it may not be.
No, totally. I really loved the description of Hannah's new breastplate.
Oh, yeah.
With the griffin etched on it, because the griffin is my favorite mythological character.
Creature.
Creature.
I
love the griffin, and there is one passage in Prometheus Bound where Oceanus is going to visit and taunt Prometheus as he's chained to that rock, and he's riding a griffin.
Oh,
I know. And then he says something. Oceanus is like, blah blah blah, and Prometheus is like, yeah, well, blah blah blah. No. Prometheus is like, get the hell out of here, and Oceanus was like, okay, cool, because you know what? I was actually about to leave anyway because my griffin needs to go to his private quarters and rest his knee. And me and your wife talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Like if I have to leave, she's like, do you have to go to your private quarters and rest your knee?
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. I thought I'd heard that somewhere. And,
yes.
And yeah, must retire to my private quarters and rest my knee.
Right. Only the one.
Only the one knee.
The one knee.
Yeah.
Just the one. So yeah, if you haven't read Prometheus Bound, please do. But griffins are miraculous.
They're pretty dope. Yeah.
They're awesome.
And I was curious. We get this line: a dinosaur walking around like in an incursion compared to when it was just a skeleton had made a bigger difference to me personally. And that kind of made me think, well, is that the reason for these incursions, to make you think about, like, let's assume it is a video game world, and that if you die, it's just a matter of like, you lose whatever's in the game, not you actually dying. Maybe it's a means of instilling a deeper respect for things like dinosaurs and just showing like how formidable they were. Things like that. So it makes me wonder if there is some sort of purpose behind these incursions, heavy air quotes, or if it's just all like chance and random. So I'd be curious to know.
I would too.
Yeah.
I really would.
Yeah. Well, okay. What else you got?
That's all I got for that one.
All right. Hey, thanks, Nick Chu. This is a
yes,
good one.
Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah. And next up, we have Pisces by the Prismatics 19.
Pisces.
Hey, it's good to have you back, Prismatics.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. So, what were your thoughts on this?
I love the descriptive work that we get at the start. There's plenty of description.
Riveting.
Riveting description, and there's plenty of it that I have a very clear image in my head of this scene, of this character. I kind of feel like we might be able to scale it back a little bit on some of the descriptions, but I think that's the perfect place to be.
Yeah.
Having too much rather than not enough description, it's easy enough to go and just kind of like refine it down a little bit. Like that's where I think an edit would come in, and it would really just, not that this isn't wonderful, it would just make it, very polished and very shiny around the edges.
Right. Okay.
But we do get quite a bit of description, but frankly, I'm here for it. I really enjoyed it.
Say that one of, I'm gonna say one of nothing, but one amazing author uses way more description to the point that it's like ad nauseum, and that would be
Tolkien. Yeah, and frankly, while I love the Lord of the Rings stories, it's an abundance of description to the point that I start tuning out.
Yeah.
Especially whenever it's like somebody telling somebody about something, and it's this, right. It's still this descriptive.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing if it's a narrative voice like we have here,
right,
giving us all this description, but if it's Gandalf explaining to Frodo, you know, about this thing that happened, and it's just such description behind it.
Yeah.
It becomes a little taxing.
Yeah, it does.
But I don't think this falls into that trap. It's not that.
No, it isn't that bad.
Yeah,
I mean, that good. Extreme. It's not that extreme.
It's not that extreme. Yeah. Because I very much enjoyed this story.
I did too.
This is so good. Okay, so in gearing up from all of this description work that we get, we start moving into the plot.
Yes.
I thought that worked perfectly. You give us this very clear descriptive scene describing this character, this knot that they're wearing, and then we actually start moving into the plot after we get this nice clear scene in our head. I thought that was handled very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
It really, really drew me in a lot.
Yes.
I found this story to be compelling, and I was like, "Oh wow, what's about to happen?" I don't know. I just kept wanting. I wanted to keep reading to see what was coming next.
Yeah, most of my notes here in the margin are just emojis, like guy like scratching his chin, like huh. Guy scratching his chin, huh? And then it's just more emojis of just me reacting to it. So you've certainly got me.
Yeah.
You got me hooked in here, and a lot of it's just nice. This is good characterization. Specifically that one. Why the fuck are the cops calling me? She muttered under her breath to no one and grabbed the phone to answer. She hoped it would be something about her work, a freak meteorite, that foul little excuse of a tattoo parlor. No one died. Hooray. Just that one little sentence does so much. I don't know why that was just such good characterization, and you managed to do it just in the middle of a paragraph and when we're not expecting it.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool little touch.
It was great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the dream is so cool. This is an occasion where we actually do have a tense change that is stylistically called for. Because we shift into the present tense in the dream. And then we shift back out of it into the past tense, right?
Oh.
Yeah, the dream is all told in present tense, and then the events of the story are told in past.
Oh, okay.
So we actually did have a stylistic reason for tense change. And I thought it's a nice delineator, especially because where the dream ends and reality picks up wasn't necessarily clear, but the tense made it clear.
That's the kind of tense change I can get on board with.
Yeah.
Okay, at the very beginning of the dream, I thought that the Prismatics 19 was a prophet or some type of clairvoyant being, because I thought this was about me.
Because of the dream?
Yeah.
So you've had this dream?
No, but I have a small statue of Buddha where I put burning embers of incense.
I imagine that maybe... Not just you.
Well, yeah. I took it personally.
Okay. All right.
And I was like, wait, what? Oh, but not just that. The person, like, she goes to the fridge and pulls out a beer, a nice one too. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Something other than a cheap 30 rack from the gas station heads back to the couch. I do that all the time, but then it was like the arm that grabs the beer is much hairier than her own. My arm is also hairy. But skinny as a rail and covered in tattoos, not my arm. And then I was like, oh, okay, this isn't about me. And then I relaxed a little bit.
Oh, you know what's so funny? It was Prismatic's story. The first one that they submitted to us that had the old couple.
Yeah.
And the guy that's suffering from all the lung problems.
Yes.
I thought that.
Oh, that was about you.
That was about me because I was just
Prismatics, like. Are you psychic? Are you
watching us right now?
Are you here? Are you in the room?
Where are they?
Where is...
Nope, they're not over there.
They're not in the wall.
Nope.
As far as we can tell.
Who
really knows, though? There is that creepy mask behind you, though.
You gave me that mask.
It's still creepy.
That's on you, dog.
Yeah, okay, well, maybe the Prismatics is inhabiting it.
But yeah, I think the main thing I take away from this is just the descriptions.
Yeah, descriptions are great.
They're wonderful. And then the use of the prompt for the phone call between her and this detective, and we get some indication that there is potentially some, would it be clairvoyance, that she knew about these events before, or maybe as they happened she was having visions.
I don't know. That's not really what I took from it. I figured that they had found something on the body that somehow...
Well, because the dream, like the only reason I think that it was clairvoyance is because of the arm.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, oh, I know why I recognize it, but I never see it without the hoodie, but it's this person they're calling about.
Right.
Made me think that it's some sort of like, clairvoyance.
Could be.
Based on the timing, I don't think it would be precognition, but also the
metacognition,
maybe
pericognition.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think the interesting kind of mystery is in the dream, the knot that they're wearing is inverse to the one that she's wearing. Yeah. So it makes me wonder if there's some sort of, magic or mystery behind this piece of jewelry that
Right.
she's been wearing for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Lovely. It's just
very
lovely.
On the part where it was like, the secretary called and was like, oh, hey, I need you to talk to this detective or whatever. I thought to myself, wait, why didn't the detective himself call? And then it was funny because Prismatics addressed that.
Yeah.
Because, like, wait, the cops have secretaries? And I was like, well, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, they were like, do cops have secretaries?
Mm-hmm.
And then the detective comes on and says, oh, thank you. I had my secretary call. And it's like, they do have secretaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was clever and well clarified.
Right.
And speaking of clarity, there was one other. Yeah, so we kind of already touched on this, but whenever she realizes that the arm, that she recognizes the arm, I'm glad that you clarified that in the text because I would never have made that leap.
No, I wouldn't have either.
So that was a good place to call that out. That's why the arm in her dreams looked familiar, and she had never put it together. So yeah, had you not called that out, that would have been absolutely lost on me. So
yeah.
So good inclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in general, I love all the characterization and backstory that we get before moving into the meat and potatoes of wherever we're going with the plot here. Very cool.
Yeah, and I really like the bait, the hinting at the next installment, where it's like she forced herself to call Brittany.
Yeah,
it's like, well, who's Brittany? Like, what's gonna happen now? You know?
Yeah. It's certainly setting up like for the next installment, the next chapter.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining us again, Prismatics 19.
Yes, we're so happy that you're here, and we cannot wait for the next installment.
Yes. And up next is Revelation by Walker by Faith. Revelation. This is the 8th entry.
Wow. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
This is my favorite one so far.
This particular story?
Yep.
This entry? Yeah. There's a lot of good things happening here.
Yeah, it's my favorite one. I don't know. It just really drew me in, and I wanted to know what was going to happen next. And I really went on this emotional roller coaster because at first I was like, Ray is a bitch to her brother, to her adopted brother. But then at the end, I was like, oh, I actually got feels. Did I cry? No, I don't think so. I may have felt that sensation that you get before you tear up, but it didn't actually manifest into tears. But that's still a lot for me.
Yeah, it certainly puts you in that position to have that empathy for Ray.
Yeah.
Because you go on this journey with her. And so you go all the way from she's just her and her parents, and she learns about their adopting. Then you get the time when Yu is learning English, and she's just mad and angry the whole time, just can't stand him. But then they start to warm up to each other. Exactly. Or Ray starts to warm up to Yu.
Right.
And then Yu comes to her defense. And then she opens up. She becomes vulnerable with Yu.
Yeah.
And then it just turns right back around. And then they're buddy-buddy, they're pals. And then next thing you know, Yu is gone.
Yeah.
By their own choice.
Yep.
So yeah, that will fuck up anybody.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I can see where Ray is coming from and why she would have such problems with the institution of adoption.
Well, yeah, and especially not even just adoption, but adoption of a child from another culture, because I think that would be really hard, which is also touched on by Steve's story as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So one thing that really threw me off was the spelling of you. How it was spelled Y-O-U instead of Y-U. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that really threw me off a lot. Like, there were several times throughout the story that I was like, you was right. I
actually kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Because Walker explicitly calls out, it's like, oh, that's not going to be confusing at all.
Right, exactly.
Sam said sarcastically.
Yeah. It's like, you is trying.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh.
But the way, just the fact that it's proper noun status, it's always capitalized.
Yeah. But whenever it's the first word in the sentence, that's when it's confusing.
Yeah, and it's just, I thought it was very clever.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny, it's clever, and there's some interesting things that you played with on that. And I think, was it the last sentence? You can go straight to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
Yeah,
you can go straight to hell.
That's clever. Kind of a
that is funny.
Double meaning there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one, I don't know. I just was really, really interested. Like, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? You know. Yeah. I just and suddenly it makes sense why she would have such negative feelings about adoption, like you said.
It's like I said.
Like you, yeah.
Like your co-host
This
said.
person right here sitting across from me.
Yeah.
You can go straight back to China.
Back to China?
No, I'm just saying that's what
you,
Ray could have said. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that would get confusing.
Yeah. I don't know. I just
you would get confusing.
Yes. I just really liked just the whole story. It was just like I was along for the ride, and I just wanted to see what was going to happen next.
I like the way that you jump through time. We're not spending a ton of time telling this story, and it obviously Ray is conveying this in the moment to Sam, so it's possible that like she's telling it just like we're reading it here, and we're just kind of going back and kind of getting it in her perspective. I like the way that we're getting the major highlights for each of these moments, and I'm always a sucker for a story within a story.
Yeah, totally.
So this works on a lot of levels for me, and Walker, you already had me hooked in the story, and this is just proving that that was a good choice. This is a great entry, and I'm loving this ride so far.
Me too. The paragraph where it's like, at this, Ray sobbed even harder, pulling you into a hug, the type of which she normally only reserved for her mother. She felt protected and comforted, and she felt that perhaps having an older brother would not be so bad after all. That one just was really touching to me.
It is, yeah. It's very sweet. It's very well described, and
it's just very like natural. Yeah. It just happens naturally, you know.
Yeah, and you can see that in that moment happening that way. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's how that interaction would go down, especially considering how you just swooped in and saved the day. Yeah. By pantsing some fool.
Yeah, that was funny. I was like, damn, what a badass.
Bloomered a fool.
He bloomered him.
Yeah.
That fool got bloomered.
Excellent entry.
Yes. Quite enjoyed it.
Excellent entry. And glad you were able to get it in this week. Sounds like you've been doing some traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad you made it safe to your destination.
And next time you're in Vegas, let me know. I'll give you $10 to put on black.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you have it.
There you have it.
I'll give you a quarter for a slot machine.
And quarter.
And quarter.
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 All right. Hey, thanks, Walker by Faith.
Thank you. It was great. Richie. That guy.
Yeah.
Chapter whatever this is.
It sounds like there's a lot of content before and after this that's already written. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Chapter middle.
Yeah. Chapter somewhere in the story. Okay. So, this is a continuation of the last story, which they're also prequels of the first story.
Which are sequels to some other story.
Right. Which are also interquels.
Okay. Yeah.
Of even an additional another few stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, Matt, what'd you think about this?
I liked him.
You liked him?
I liked him.
Oh, I liked him too. Okay, so did you have any other thoughts or
yeah, just in general, first it's very clear that we're picking up exactly where we left off after having talked with the principal.
Yes.
And we get a lot of information about Uncle Benny.
Yes.
So we're clearly setting up Uncle Benny to be a kind of a main character moving forward. Maybe not a main character, like a supporting character. Like we're going to get some information, some backstory about, I assume, this program.
Right. So we can just say a significant character.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm fascinated about whatever's in this envelope.
Same.
What do you think's in there?
Wait, didn't we find out that it was Uncle Benny's packet?
Yeah, but we don't get much detail about like the information that's in there, but yeah, I'm just kind of curious if this is something that's going to help Nick.
Yeah.
Like give him kind of an edge over everybody else.
Maybe because we already know it's not going to deter him.
Right.
Because we already know that he went.
Well, and whether it deterred him or not is irrelevant because he's committed.
Right.
It sounds
exactly.
Like. Doesn't sound like there's any way to back out.
Maybe it is something that's going to help him.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that, but yes, that would kind of make sense.
Yeah, so there's a meeting on Friday with Nick and Uncle Benny. So,
I really like the part where it's like at the very beginning, Nick finished work at 5:30, took the long way home, stopping at the grocery store to get a bottle of wine and a pint of cookie dough ice cream. I do this every day.
I said party, hey-o.
Right, hey-o.
Hey-o.
Okay, guys, I don't do it every day, but I have been known to purchase a pint of ice cream and a bottle of wine on the way home from work.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although I don't usually go in for cookie dough, although I love it.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, it wouldn't be my choice, but hey.
Yeah, I really liked the inclusion of wine and cookie dough because that is just
that hits home.
That well, A, that hits home, and B, that's just like, oh God, it's bad.
Yeah. Oh,
wine.
Wait, what?
Like that is like the ultimate like pity party, I feel like.
Oh no,
like,
I do that in a celebratory way.
Well, also yes, like but I just don't imagine that cookie dough and wine really mixes quite right.
It does actually.
Does it?
Yeah. It feels great.
Okay.
In my tongue.
Just in like I think about that and I'm like, oh God, that's just like a gut grenade.
Okay, interesting. Interesting take. For me, that is just a Wednesday.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it sounds delicious.
Yeah.
It sounds really tasty.
Yeah, an ice cream float with wine. Not bad.
Not bad. Yeah. Oh, and we get I forgot about this voicemail, or I'm assuming it's a voicemail from Lena. This italicized portion through the middle here. And I really liked that. I kept thinking to myself, do we really need this? But I think we do. Because this is probably the last time that we're going to get these types of interactions for Nick.
Yeah.
So if this is where I think we are in the story before Nick like cuts all ties with all of these characters that we've been with for a while, I think it's important that we touch base with them for a little bit. Yeah. And also it gives us a little bit of backstory that we haven't heard before, but I highlighted this, you never did that with me though. Not until, well, anyway, just get back here for your family. And so it's just like, you're going to leave me hanging right there?
But I kind of thought she was saying you never did that until this.
You never were one to talk through things before doing them.
Right.
You never did that with me though. Not until, well.
Yeah, so I guess she wouldn't be talking about that because he didn't tell her.
I like the open-ended nature of that, but at the same time, I always want some resolution. So I'm kind of torn on that one.
It's like, what happened?
Yeah.
I like the description of a blast of wine.
Yeah. I highlighted that. That's a new one for me.
It made me feel that wine is delicious because it made me think of a blaster from like, where is it? Sonic? Like a Blizzard?
Oh yeah. Blast is Sonic. Blizzard is Dairy Queen.
Blizzard is Dairy Queen. Yeah. But I always get Dairy Queen Blizzards.
Okay.
I sound like a total fat ass. Okay. But the blast or the blaster, I think, is a Sonic thing. So whenever it said a blast of wine, I was like, And then I got that taste of a wine ice cream float again. Yum.
Yeah, it made me think of like, you have mugs of coffee.
Right.
You have a glass of wine.
Right.
But if you have a full glass of wine, that's a blast of wine.
Oh,
that's what it made me think
of. Well, to me, it sounded like a
like a shot of,
or like a draft. You know?
Yeah.
A draft of wine.
A swig.
Something
a handle.
like that. A handle of wine. Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
There's so many ways to describe various quantities of alcohol.
There are.
Yeah. Or liquids in general.
Right. Did you say finger?
Oh yeah, fingers.
A finger.
A finger of whiskey. Two
Two
fingers of
finger,
whiskey.
3 fingers
10 fingers of
of
whiskey.
whiskey is a blast.
Is a blast.
A blast equals 10 fingers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were both clearly fascinated
We were.
by
I
a blast
really
of
liked
wine.
that. I was like, is that like a regional dialect? Is that a thing in some places? I don't know.
I've never heard it, but I was
I haven't either, but I like it.
yeah, I was
But
on
you know
board.
what? There's some crazy shit in other regions that people say.
Undoubtedly. And I'm
Okay.
sure we've said some ridiculous
have,
shit.
But there's things that I've never even heard before, which I hear them and I'm like, what? Would you like to hear an example?
By all means.
When I lived in Saudi Arabia,
Uh-huh.
I was at the mall, which that's what you do for fun there. And well, there was this other girl that worked at the university at the same time as me. I'm sorry, it was a college. And she's from Philadelphia. Anyway, so I didn't realize that she was in front of me in line at like this ice cream place. And I ordered before her. And I didn't even realize I did it because I'm not that type of person. But she was like, "You budged." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "You budged." And I was like, "What?"
I'm sorry. What?
I'm sorry. Come again. She's like, "Well, I was in front of you."
And I budged.
And I budged. And I was like, well, after a lot of explanation, I understood that she was saying like, you cut
Yeah.
the line. So
Because budge is like
to move.
but budge is like but budge. It
For
officially has no meaning to me now
Right.
that I've thought about it.
Right. Now it's not even a word anymore.
Yeah, it's just noise.
Right.
Um
But I finally realized she was saying cut. They do not say cut in Philadelphia. And in Texas we say cut.
yeah.
And
Yeah, don't cut the line, yeah.
right. Or just cut. You cut, don't
Yeah.
cut, you know? And in Philadelphia it's budge. And I was like, "Oh my God."
Because I feel like budge would be the opposite of cutting. Like you budge and then people go by you.
Yeah, I can't explain it at all with logic. I just know that that's what it means.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I
Defies
kind of
logic.
had that sensation when I read the thing about the
A blast of
blast
wine.
of wine.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, is that a thing somewhere?"
That is like, I'm going to internalize that and I'm going to use that every time wine is somewhere. It's like at a wine bar or restaurant or something. Just be like, "Can I get a blast of wine?"
Yes. Or can I get a blast of your Merlot, your house Merlot?
And it's just close enough, like phonetically to glass,
Yeah.
that it could just be completely just glaze over it. Nobody would know.
I'm going to do that, but I'm going to enunciate. I'm going to be like, "Can I get a blast?"
Blast.
Oh, and then I'm going to spell it with sign language as I say it to make sure that
Yeah.
everybody understands.
It goes from a one syllable word to at least 3. Balacita.
Yeah, a balacit to balacita.
A basilisk of wine.
Yes, a balacitus of basilica of wine. Yes. So,
Okay.
yeah, I loved that. I was just tickled pink.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Just tickled me.
And I want to know about Uncle Benny. Sounds like that could be like the prologue to like us learning about Uncle Benny's time in the program, whatever this thing is.
Right.
Which we did actually get an official name for that.
Yeah. It was
The
the hard labor debt forgiveness program.
Indeed, yeah. And so whatever Uncle Benny has to say about the program for Nick, I feel like that could be a way to kind of set up some expectations for us, the reader,
Mm-hmm.
moving into Nick's time at this program.
Right.
And we get the differences between Uncle Benny's time from way back when or however long ago versus Nick's time, and maybe how this program has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe how Nick is either prepared or not for this program. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
Like I'm very curious where this is going.
Right. So the amount of Nick's debt made me feel a lot better about my own debt.
And also the amount of time that he would have to spend in this program to pay off over $300,000 worth of debt
Yeah.
is 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's better than what I make by far.
No, totally.
It's
Totally.
Like,
I
are
was
they
like,
hiring?
Oh, 2.5 years? That's great. I would do that.
I would do that for 3.5 G's. Shit.
Oh, yeah. I'd
Yeah.
absolutely sign up for that. Yeah, so actually, it sounds like a sweet gig, unless apparently everybody dies there. So in that
Yeah.
case, that's not really a sweet gig.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're probably going to be worked to the bone all the time.
Right. It's like being in prison.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then again, it's like being in the military. It's good for you, right? Kind of. But on the other hand, it kind of reminded me of I'm wagging my finger.
Yes,
It
she's
kind
very
of-
emphatically
I look
wagging
like
this
one of those
finger.
like 20s like
Now look here, see,
It's like-
yeah.
no, I'm talking about the 20s like singer dancer people who are like, you know what I'm talking about? The
No.
flappers.
The flappers use their finger.
I
Just
think so. I
okay.
think they wag them fingers,
Okay.
them index fingers.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
so
never
anyway.
met one.
It kind of reminds me of On Handmaid's Tale.
Okay. Okay.
There is, I forgot what it's called, but there's a place where they send you if you're too defiant.
Oh, what was
Mhm.
it? I don't remember.
Yeah. And that place is like radioactive.
Yeah.
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 It's like cleaning up nuclear waste or something.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, and I just remember the scenes where they're even in the water. I remember that it's in the water, like the radioactivity, and you're just dying. It's just killing you, or you're
Yeah.
at least getting very disfigured and fucked up.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me. I'm like, is it like that? Is it that bad? Because if it was, I would not sign up for that.
Right. And that, yeah, I'm just curious what the program is
Mhm.
like, because that will give us a better idea of the world at large.
Right.
Like what's the state of the world? And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just fascinated. I'm genuinely fascinated because we've had so much build up to it that I'm curious what that looks like.
I am too, but also I was confused by this line. Okay, where it's like, you're gonna take a train to San Antonio and start your time, and maybe at the end of it you'll walk out of there debt free. Maybe not. I sure as shit didn't. I walked out of there half dead with your Aunt Tiffany, rest her soul, and never thought about money again. I found something to live for, and I did what I had to. Sounds to me like he did walk out of there debt free.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
it sounds like you may have the option to leave the program before you actually do pay off all of your debts. So maybe there is some agency to people in this program or maybe it was because they married. Benny and Tiffany married, and that was a means of getting out of the program.
Okay.
Not clear.
Like
That's
a green card marriage, kind of.
something.
Maybe.
Like maybe there are like exceptions for people who I don't know, find love in the program. Yeah, you find love, you can go back to your life as
Okay.
normal, and you accrue your debt like you used to, and
Right.
and you know, whatever you paid off is whatever you paid off. So I don't
Maybe.
know. I'm glad you brought that up though.
Yeah, because to me it sounded like he did walk out of there debt free because he said, I never thought about money again.
That could just be a means of like money was irrelevant to me, and
Maybe.
whatever debt that I had, I didn't care about.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess there wasn't enough information to really like make sense of that sentence.
Yeah, it is. That was confusing, and
Mhm.
I think that may be setting us up for part of what Uncle Benny is going to tell
Mhm.
Nick.
Yeah.
On Friday.
I also found it very telling about the character of Nick whenever Benny is like, I guess we've got a lot more to talk about than what I thought. You good with the phone, or do you want me to head over there? And Nick is like, I think I need to just go to bed.
Yeah,
I'll go there on Friday. Because that's a certain type of person. I feel like, Matt, you are probably that type of person. I am the type of person who's like, oh, yeah, you're coming over? Or I'm going, yeah, come on over. Like, I'm not going to shut somebody down who is wanting to, like, talk right now.
I don't know. It depends on the person.
Right.
Who I would say there are people that if they need to talk, like you can come over day and night, doesn't matter.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if it's a customer, like no, you can't come talk to me. No.
I mean,
But yeah,
fuck that.
But
no.
yeah, family. Like if it's important and you need to talk, like yeah, come over.
Yeah.
Or do you need me to come
But
over?
even if they're, Benny was offering to help Nick.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Nick,
If it was,
I felt like Nick was like, these are my boundaries. I need my space right now.
in that case, yeah, I probably am like Nick.
Yeah,
If
'cause
it's
I'm
for
not.
me, yeah, don't come over here for me.
Right.
Like if you need something, come over.
Right.
But for me, no.
Yeah, but I would feel that if somebody was wanting badly enough to help me, that they were like, I'll come over right now, whatever time it is, then I would feel obligated to let them come over. Because that's who I am. I'm a fucking doormat. And I hate myself. I'm just joking. I love myself.
Okay. Because you're not a doormat.
I know. I'm just joking. But, well, I'm just saying that I would be like, yes, Benny, come over.
Yeah. Just, yeah, that obligation.
So I feel like that was a very vivid characterization of Nick.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, like, no. I'll come over on Friday.
Right.
And that that could actually be setting us up for never learning whatever Benny is going to say to Nick. Because Nick could just be like, nope, leaving.
Yeah.
And then we just miss any of whatever Benny has to say.
Right.
I haven't thought about that. Like, we're setting up for a meeting, but we could just as easily be setting up a means of characterizing Nick as like, nope.
Right.
I'm just doing this.
And maybe Nick is going to get fucked because he did not make time to listen to Benny.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I thought was funny about this story was how as soon as at the very beginning of the conversation where Benny's like, hey kid, how's it all feeling about now? And Nick started yelling, what is this? You did the program. When did this shit happen, Benny? I feel like it was like 0 to 100, like real quick.
Yeah.
Which was kind of funny to me.
Yeah. What is this shit? Calm your tits. Yes, they know.
Yeah. I found that very fascinating. Maybe because it was relatable, because I sometimes go 0 to 100 really fast.
Yeah, I can attest.
But as we know, not in anger.
Correct.
Just in outbursts of insanity.
Yeah, I was going to say mostly in just insanity and inanity.
That's the same, but yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
Is that different? What is the difference?
It's the same.
What's the difference, though?
There's not one.
But what's the difference?
Well, the only difference is etymological, which is insane, is like without health.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
And inane, I actually don't even know the root of the ane unless it's animus, which is like without life, but that doesn't make sense. No, I think the root is something else, but they mean the same thing. There are synonyms.
Well, now we know that.
Now we know.
Or rather, now I know that.
Now you know.
That you have told me what you knew
I
of
know.
that.
I know that I don't know. Because I said I don't know the root of inane.
Oh.
Guess who else said I know that I don't know? Guess who said that shit? My hero. If you don't say the right name, I'm going to flip this fucking table.
It's a Freddie Mercury.
No, but I do love Freddie.
Hero, right?
Yeah. I have several of them.
I know that I don't know.
No.
Is it Lewis? C.S. Lewis?
No, but that's a better guess than Freddie Mercury.
Okay. Is it?
And I do love C.S. Lewis.
It's not Tolkien.
Do you want me to tell you what context, in which context he said that, and then you can guess?
Okay, got that. Yes, please.
Okay, so he was going around from village to village trying to prove that he was smarter than everyone else. And he asked people, for example, he went up to like a group of fishermen and was like, oh, hey, I think I'm smarter than you or wiser than you. Can you prove to me that you are wiser than me? And the fishermen were like, fuck you. We know how to do this and that. We know how to like weave nets and blah, blah, blah. So obviously we are wiser than you. And this person was like, oh, okay, cool. I see. Well, actually, you just proved that I'm wiser than you because you think that you know everything, but I know that I don't know everything. And he did that to a lot of different groups of people. And then he was killed for being an asshole. You know what? I don't even want to say who it is. I just want to ask our listeners, does anybody know who I'm talking about?
Is it bad that I want to say Jesus Christ?
That's not bad at all. That's not the correct answer,
but the way that you, because that's what was going on in my head, and you said, and then he was killed for being an asshole. I was like, oh shit.
That is a very fair guess.
But
That's a very fair guess. And I could definitely draw parallels between the two. But I want to ask our listeners, can any of you
Confucius,
name who I am talking about? And if you can,
Gandhi,
I will give you mad respect.
Jessica Chastain. No.
That was very close though.
Was it? Okay.
No, not at all. No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, listeners, do not let us down. Actually comment on this. I want to know who has a guess.
All right, what else you got for Richie Posier?
That's all I've got. And I'd like to say it was an excellent entry.
It was a delightful entry.
Very delightful.
Yes. And that is our last story for this week.
That's right.
So shout out to stevelivingroom for being selected here today. And Nick to you, the Prismatics 19, Walker by Faith, and Richie Posier. Thank you guys. This has been
y'all.
This has been a lot of fun this month.
So much fun. And thank you for, striking out and doing it. And also we totally understand for those of you who are busy, don't have time to do the 2,000 word thing, although that's just a soft limit. But yeah, we're just glad to have some engagement, so anybody can listen and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the goal was just to give you some room to explore.
That's right.
Like myself, I really did want to participate in this.
Me too.
I just did not have time.
Jealous.
Yeah.
I am raging with envy.
Yes. Yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. I wish I was part of this.
I want to have a novel at the end of this month.
Even if it was a piece of a novel.
Yeah.
Like getting something like ready and started, and you've got this larger idea. Like I've got those. They're just not on a page anywhere.
Yeah, same. I'm so jealous of everyone who is facilitated by us.
Yeah.
I want somebody like us to facilitate us.
Yeah.
I want to get facilitated.
Let's get facilitated. I feel like there should be some like beat that drops right there.
That would be great. Can you add that in?
Let's get facilitated.
Yeah. Like boom, boom. Yeah, something like that. Can you do that? Can you add that in?
No,
just a little sound effect. Just a little like 3-second blurb.
Okay.
Of a beat. That'd be great.
Well, I'll see what I can come up with.
Yeah, and then you can be like facilitate. Okay. I can't wait.
I've got to move on.
I'm so excited.
Okay, that moves us straight into episode 17.
17?
Yeah. And this episode spans 2 weeks.
2 semanas.
2 semanas, sí.
Hoyer Dotohonik.
Also, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Which, for episode 17, we are going to conclude our long-form story month. So, for episode 17, we ask that you write a birth into your story.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about the word birth, it can mean a lot of things.
Right.
Like a new beginning, a new identity. Could be in like literal birth, like a new person.
Or animal.
Yeah.
An animal. An original animal.
Yes. But so yeah, whatever way you want to take that idea, just run with it.
Yeah.
But I actually really liked that idea, especially at the end, because it implies growth.
Right.
And change within a story.
Totally. It's not the end, it's the beginning. Or the end is a beginning.
Right. Yes. I'm getting Smashing Pumpkins songs in my head.
Really? I was getting Shiva.
Also that.
Right. And by birth, we mean birth, not berth.
Right. Not
so very different things.
Yeah. Birth.
Right.
Birth. And the words to accompany this prompt are conscious, endure, tablet, accountant, and jacket.
Oh, wow. Those are perfect.
Are they?
for this prompt. Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
What do you got for conscious?
So the first thing I want to say about conscious is that, and by the way, everyone, I have not seen or heard these words until 30 seconds ago. The first thing I want to say about conscious is that it is not the word conscience. People confuse them all the fucking time.
Well, they do sound similar, so that's fair. It's fair game.
No, it's not.
Conscious.
Fuck that.
Okay.
Fuck that.
Rachel is not okay.
I am not okay with it.
With
I don't
confusing
accept it. Conscience, which is not what we're talking about, is Jiminy Cricket.
Your conscience.
Right.
Yeah.
We are talking about conscious.
Conscious.
So, conscious means aware, awake,
Not unconscious.
not unconscious, but it also
Sorry.
it also has like a very kind of, well, if it's self-conscious, it's like meta meaning, but then again, that's just awareness of yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a form of awareness.
it's a form of awareness. It could either be like more like involved awareness, like I'm conscious of the fact that blah, 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 like I know blah, blah, blah. Or it could be that you are literally conscious or unconscious,
Yeah.
awake or not awake.
How about endure?
Endure.
Endure.
Endure means endure means to okay, withstand. What's another synonym? Endure. Bear.
Yeah.
BEAR.
Yeah, bear something.
Bear. Suffer. To suffer something. Long suffering.
Actually, the first definition is suffer.
Am I a genius? Maybe.
I'm not going to validate that.
Oh, but you also are not going to deny that.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. To endure is to undergo, to withstand something difficult, I would say.
Yeah, to remain in existence or last.
Mm-hmm.
To last, to suffer. Yeah, endure. I didn't think about that. It usually implies like pain or suffering.
Mm-hmm.
That must be endured.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't say endure to something awesome. Like I have to endure eating this ice cream float.
I have to live through something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And next we have tablets. Nowadays that has technology implications.
True that. Can you tell us about the technology implications since you're a technological wizard?
Well, it's like a big phone.
There you go.
That's basically it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And of course, phone means it has a touch screen with internet connectivity,
right?
And
not a keyboard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tablet.
A tablet. Okay, but back in the olden days, it meant a stone slab.
Yeah.
Like the Ten Commandments.
The 10 Commandment tablets.
Tablets.
The 10 Commandment iPads.
There was 2 of them, 5 on each iPad. Tablet. Can it mean anything else?
I feel like
pill.
there's like a pill. Yeah.
It's a pill. Yeah, a tablet.
Not a capsule.
Right. The tablet is something that...
It's a compressed powder.
It's a compressed powder, but you can split the tablet, but you cannot split the capsule. But you can poison a capsule, but it'd be harder to poison a tablet.
Right. And you could split a capsule if it's water soluble, in which case you can pour the capsule into water and then mix the water and then split the amount of water and then you consume the capsule.
Okay, yeah, sure. But you can't saw the capsule in half.
You can. It won't be even, though.
Unless you have a scale. A very minute scale.
Very granular scale.
A very granular scale.
How about accountant?
An accountant is a person who counts things.
A person who accounts for things.
Sure. And counts things.
Possibly.
They fucking count things.
They could, yeah.
They count money.
I feel like they're above counting the money.
They count money. And they account for money as well. They got to count too.
I'll tell our accountant that.
Yeah, do.
Yeah.
Do that.
Just going to work tomorrow. Hey, you counted all that money yet?
Be like, hey, do you ever count things? And they'll be like, yes. So listen, I know some accountants.
Yeah.
Personally.
Oh. Go Go on.
And they count the shit out of shit.
Okay.
They also account.
Yeah.
So I think that the word accountant only refers to the profession.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
A person whose job it is to keep, inspect, and analyze financial accounts.
Right. And I mean, other forms of the word accountant can apply to other things like accountable, account for, but accountant actually just refers to the profession. And by the way, the suffix nt is the Latin gerund suffix, which corresponds with the English ing. Yeah. But whenever you add the accounting, it actually means accounting.
Accountant technically means accounting.
Yeah, the NT. Trust me, I did a whole project on gerunds.
Huh.
Gerunds are my favorite part of speech.
Cool. I would imagine a lot of people don't even know that gerunds are a part of speech.
They are.
Yeah.
They're a verbal noun, just like infinitives.
Rad.
Yeah. I'm excited about it, actually.
And lastly, jacket.
Okay, so jacket can be a noun or a verb. You can jacket something.
Can you?
I think so.
You're exactly right.
See,
yeah.
Oh my God. Yes. Okay, so
oh yes, give me more validation. Yes.
I feel so alive.
It fuels me.
Okay, so a jacket is something that you like put around yourself or something else. Something you hang around, like a cloak. So, to cloak something is to jacket something. I do remember that x-rays have jackets. They jacket x-rays.
Like the product?
Right. The actual thing, they put a jacket on it. And I know that because of my time in the hospital.
Oh.
And the x-ray technicians were like, I gotta put a jacket on this. And I'm like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Why don't you give me a jacket,
why are you talking
bitch?
to me like a thing? Like I'm not a this, and then they don't give you a jacket.
They don't give me a jacket. They give the x-ray a jacket. They're like, fuck you. It's like negative 10 degrees in the x-ray room. And they're like, you don't get a jacket. But guess what? The x-ray gets a jacket. A jacket. Me. Anyway, so we've got leather jacket. We've got what's that movie?
Yellow jacket.
Full metal jacket. Yes. Yeah. Isn't that about the bomb diffuser?
Hurt Locker.
Oh, I was thinking of Hurt Locker. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Full Metal Jacket is the one by Stanley Kubrick with Joker and Private Polly. It's a great movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's classic.
I don't remember I've seen it.
It's booked up, but it's good. I'm sure you've seen scenes, especially from the first half of it.
Probably.
Because it's all them in basic training. And anyways.
Cool.
Watch Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, okay, great.
It's a hell of a thing.
That's jacket. There's a yellow jacket.
Yeah, it's a bug.
It's a kind of a bird.
It's a flying bird.
It's a flying bird. It's a mean flying bird.
It'll sting you.
It'll kick your ass.
Yeah, and then you have like a Adidas running jacket.
Right, like an actual jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a windbreaker.
No, totally. Absolutely. Windbreakers were all the rage in the 90s.
Yeah. And apparently in Russia.
Huh. Still?
I don't know. It's a stereotype.
To this day? Okay.
I'm sure I don't know.
Probably. But you know what, though? The way things are going these days, it's probably going to come back.
Because, I mean, it still gets cold.
Well, yeah, it does. And also, I remember for Christmas when I was like in 4th grade, I asked Santa for a windbreaker suit. And guess what Santa did? Got me that windbreaker suit.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
And it was really funny because just now whenever we were talking about it, I smelled it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The polyester or the nylon.
That scent. Oh man, that's like the scent of Christmas morning. It was wonderful.
A windbreaker suit.
Yes, it was wonderful. Yeah. You know what would be really funny though is a infant in a windbreaker suit. I don't know why I just thought about that. Are you gonna Google that?
Infant in windbreaker.
It has to exist.
Suit.
I have no suit. Suit.
Yep, there they are.
Oh my god, is it cute?
They're everywhere.
Is it cute? Or is it weird?
It's just a kid in a windbreaker suit.
Oh,
It's-
fuck that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
less cool than
Huh.
either of us wanted it to be.
Damn.
Hmm.
Okay, never mind. Oh, I like to see an animal in a windbreaker suit.
No, I'm just kidding.
I got excited for a second there.
Well, if you want to be like these wonderful writers and submit your story to You Write, head on over to our subreddit at reddit.com/r/youwritepod.
If you're unable to submit a story this week, that's fine. I mean, you can help out by just reading and also saying items about other people's stories.
Yes, all the items.
Each of them.
Each item.
Each one of them.
We'll listen to each item.
Right.
Each time you post an item or leave an item on someone else's item, you increase your item.
Or even perform an item.
If you perform an item, you increase your chances of having your item read on our item.
That's right. And you can also reach us at youwritepod@gmail.com.
Also known as youwritepod@gmail.com. Also, if you like our show and you want to, or if you like our item and you want to help support this item, consider donating to our other item at patreon.com/youwrite.
If you are unable to dinate dinosaur
if you're unable to dine with us today.
If you're unable to dine with our item, that's just fine. You can help us by sharing the item with other items and not items alike.
If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our item so you know as soon as new items are available.
That's right. Also, be sure to leave us an item and another item in your item of choice.
A rating and a review. Please. Yeah, guys, the reviews really do help us.
Give us a review.
Yeah, give us some reviews.
Please.
Ratings and reviews. Please.
Yes, please.
We will be reading a review on each episode, so, get cute with it.
That's right. Be cute.
Be cute.
Be cute. And remember, join us next week on You Write.
An item where you write.
Item.
I said item. I didn't say a podcast.
You did.
I said item.
You did. Oye, ¿cómo va? Mi ritmo bueno para gozar. Mulata. Oye, ¿cómo va?
See y'all next week.
Mi ritmo bueno para gozar. Mi ritmo.